Now, I thought it was George Bush, because in my heyday in state of New York, as a member of the educational system, being public school where they don't teach you anything, this war on drugs came on the television as like an ad campaign. No idea what happened prior to that. Again, I don't get George Bush campaign information back then or now. Had a run-in with Reagan and his administration. They made us climb ropes and we had a really fun time. Like, they sent people in, they put like an obstacle course together. We had a really good time as kids in the gymnasium. But that was when like life was good here years ago. I do see though that there was some campaign led prior to my arrival, after Linda arrived, but before I arrived, where they claimed some war on drugs. Well, isn't that convenient? Is that fall under the category of you mess with the breeding partners of the next gens? Because I'm Generation X, and it's what it feels like after the baby boomers messed up that portion with Lynn and her marriage. I'm in her bedroom. That's where I sit. That's her bed. I didn't want to be here, so that makes this my war room. So now it says the U.S., the federal government, drug prohibition, military aid, and military intervention. Those are the big five underneath the war on drugs title. So does that mean that that's how they kept the person I was built for and bred for? Did they keep him home because he was 16 or older and away from me in this state of York or New York? Just curious. Great Beyond and the King's Guard from Beyond, who apparently may have some other order that conduct itself in a certain fashion or manner where they pledge to some other woman to defend her till their dying day, which I totally understand, except I'm having problems at subservient state, so anything in the senior varsity while I'm in a junior varsity and there's some overplay that's been a complete disruption and disheveling and furthering nefarious agendas at outbreeding. I'm looking at this gentleman because, again, the first time I ever really heard of Texas or Texan was when they spoke of George Bush. He's still really the only Texas reference I have. I mean, I have my Aunt Carol lives there with Uncle Kenny and Darlene and Bob. But other than that, don't know anything about Texas except what you see on the movies. All right, so now this gentleman was singing this morning about he needs someone's love. He says, I need your love in that whole you movement, Y-O-U, throwing it out there. Up here, though, it says garage. Then it says Orange Crush. It has this partially Polish with 1 star, and this version of Handsome right here, just so we're clear on relatives, and then, or relatively close enough, and then we've got what does it say, Shuffle? We got Monte Carlo and First National. Then I got a trumpet or bugle player over here. Is that a trumpet or a bugle? It gets confusing. Here, they call this a cello, but sometimes I've heard it called cellist. I don't know why. And that goes back to like that Kiev, and that island, Island. Yeah, it is land. And then I don't know what he's playing. This is not a xylophone, but he's playing some form of, I don't know what. Or playing around with, I don't know what. So, that's where last night, as I was sitting here going through the daily roll on Russia takes over Kiev, and then they were teaching about international guidelines, I suppose, or things that could be done. This morning I hear Russia did something with a veto from the UN. Again, you've got a deep fake going on, and it's buried deep within the UN. The US is being represented by a false narrative, a false queen, a false set of operatives, and it seems to be directing things in the wrong mannerism, because there is a real genocide going on. It's just, I think the humans are having trouble pinpointing where it's coming from because they seem to be distracted by all of this business office by sector and who they vector with, which is completely irrelevant if you don't have a populace and a population in order to rule over or to direct. It becomes a problem when there's no next generation. So anyhow, so I don't know. I mean, it would just seem that, and now, of course, I'm under biological warfare, biological attack in being completely misspoken for. I don't know who I was built for and what privy name he goes by. But I'll tell you that the 1976, the 1975 two pieces of shit and toilet paper that got thrown into my mix that I never wanted is a real problem still. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.